you build those systems, and then when you want to do it to something new, it's just kind of copy and paste, right? It's almost a lot of the things you're talking about, like your ethos and what you stand for. It's pretty easy to just to say, hey, we do that for pools, but also the same thing for uniforms. It's a little bit easier when the groundwork's already done. And what I'm trying to say is starting it's easy, then forming it and actually turning it into something else, that takes time. There's no shortcuts there.
This is episode 173 with Bryce Sirrine and Zach Singer of Beyond Pool Cleaning. Enjoy!
Welcome to your go-to podcast for the pool and spa industry. My name is Tyler Rasmussen.
And my name is Greg Viafania. And this is the Pool Chasers Podcast.
All right, well, thank you guys for coming down to the studio and joining us today. Can you introduce yourselves and your role at your companies?
So my name is Bryce Sirrine. We own Beyond Pool Cleaning, but we also own, we have a retail store, Sun Pool and Patio. You probably see me a lot on like AZ Pool Techs. And we actually just recently started working with Skimmer as a kind of brand ambassadors, just kind of helping them do some training and things like that. So quite a bit, don't look at my business card. It gets kind of lengthy, but
12 different things you went to school for?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm Zach Singer, co-owner of Beyond Pool Cleaning. I also do PTG Uniforms, if anyone's familiar, plus everything he said, because I do more than he does.
Right.
He just has the title.
So how did you get into the business of pools?
He wanted money, so I gave him some. So I started doing pools with him, and then kind of stepped more into the back office after a while, because I've got a really bad leg and I can't walk that long, and apparently it's really physical to do pools.
Super physical.
Yeah.
What were you doing before you started with pools?
I was in retail. I worked at Walgreens forever. Still actually work there. 0 days a week, but I get a blank paycheck, which is great.
Oh, I see. So you must be pretty good with taking care of customers. I mean, especially a place like Walgreens, you're getting a lot of different personalities coming in and out of the store. You're dealing with theft. You're dealing with employees. You're dealing with all types of things. I mean, how did that help you in, the company?
Once I stepped more into the back end of Beyond, I got to really focus on things I always enjoyed, like with Walgreens. The customer service, I've always been able to excel at that, but training, procedures, shrink, theft, just kind of really hammering in on those to make sure it works, it's profitable. This guy can't quote a job to make money to save his life, but I'll figure it out.
Yeah, he says that I'm always the kind of guy, I want to help the old lady make sure, she comes with her sob story. It's like, we'll make your pool look great again. And then it's up to Zach to make sure that the bills still get paid. So that's, what he does is, set our pricing and all of that to actually make a business and, not a nonprofit that I'm trying to run, apparently.
Yeah. So what's your favorite part of the business? I mean, you're out in the field a lot more, I take it.
Yeah, I kind of like going out and doing jobs just kind of solo, honestly. Spent a lot of time around people in the previous industries, and so a lot of times I'm just like, I'm going to go out there and, listen to, some audiobooks, some podcasts, whatever, but, that's typically what I enjoy. And then on the flip side, I also like to just really look into the analytics of the business. So another thing Zach's not saying, I track all of our quotes. I track all of that. And he talks about his sales ability. He closes 80% of the quotes that he goes to do, whereas everyone else is maybe 50-50. So, that's the kind of stuff I care about. It's just the numbers, I guess.
Nice. So let's go back a little bit and did you guys both grow up here in Arizona or?
Yeah, pretty much.
Phoenix through high school. He went to Flagstaff, and then after that, we never lived in the same city or state for about 6 years.
Yeah, I don't know. Consult the graph.
But always best friends since. So kind of grew up here, but stayed pretty close.
Did you knew each other in high school?
Middle school is when we met.
Middle school.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely more than 10 years.
I sold him gum. It was great.
You sold him gum?
Yeah, as my gum dealer.
So your sales tactics went all the way back to middle school? selling
and magic cards.
Gary V style, selling suckers. Magic cards, is that what you said?
Oh yeah.
You're selling like Magic the Gathering?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Nice. So how'd you get into the business, Bryce?
So, like he's saying, I was working for a big restaurant conglomerate kind of thing. I oversaw something like 24 restaurants, like three brands, and I was just never at home. So I started kind of shopping for a business I could get into that would still, I wouldn't have to take a pay cut, but I could be at home every night. And my wife really wanted to get back to Phoenix. We were living in, Dallas at the time, but so she wanted to get back to Phoenix. Started looking at it, and I found the pool route. It seems like you can really get some money out of it. You can work by yourself. So it seemed like a pretty cool opportunity. And so after talking to, Zach and putting some of my own finances together, decided that we could afford to buy a pool route and start trying to develop the business. So not knowing what I was getting into, I bought like 130 accounts and
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Soloed them for a long time.
soloed them for a while. Yeah.
130 a week?
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. It was a really tight route, and we've pretty much it was mostly in the Ahwatukee area. So we actually just sold our last few Ahwatukee pools as we've kind of transitioned out of that area. But it's a really tight area. So I tell people I did 30 plus pools a day, but I was still done by 2 every day. So not too bad.
Nice.
So how are you learning? I mean, you just jumped right into this business, 120 pools. I mean, it's pretty difficult because that's like almost 30 pools a day that you're cleaning if you're trying to do it Monday through Friday.
I had something like 2 weeks of training, and from the guy that showed me, basically he taught me how to dip a strip and throw chems in the pool. Right, it was a crash course
With a promise of lifetime training.
I mean,
That's what I hear all the time around
Right.
Arizona. It's like, oh, we're going to train you for a lifetime. And 2 weeks later, you're just peace.
right.
It's because they know that lifetime is pretty short.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, he quit.
Yeah, he's actually like I could still call him today and he'd answer questions for me. But
That's
I'm just
cool.
not that type of person. I'm more the type of person who's like, all right, we're just gonna struggle with this and figure it out. My first motor exchange, I think it took me like 2.5 hours, and now I could do it in probably 20 minutes pretty easily. It's just stuff like that where it's like, okay, apparently this comes off.
Yeah, I started out in a motor shop, and like, yeah, it's definitely when you look at the nose cones and then the impellers and all that stuff, you're like, what is? Why is there screws here? Why? Oh, it's reverse thread screw. Cool. Like,
Yeah.
all that learning curve of.
Right.
There was way more pieces out of here when
Yeah.
I started. What was our first DE filter clean that took a solid 2 hours? Just trying to figure out how to get back in together.
Yeah.
I remember when we did that together. The similar experience of 2 hours of DE clean. Yeah, trying to put them all back together.
Right.
Probably didn't get put back together correctly.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Oh, that exploded.
You need some.
that was
or
my
actually,
pool
you
that
just
we
don't
did
like
that.
DE filters because you just sell them a brand new cartridge filter when they got
I'm definitely.
when they had a 3-month-old DE filter.
Oh, this is broken.
I was a great salesman, but I felt like I was even better in the beginning because I was just so nervous. So I would just put the hard sell on. I went to this house. I'm not proud of this. And it was like a brand new filter pretty much. And the top of the filter's gone. And I'm like, not even thinking, I'm like, yeah, top's gone, man. You need a new one. Like, that's all there is to it, to be honest. And I actually think it might have been on the property somewhere.
I think so. Yeah. I think it
And
was.
this is just happening. And they became like a VIP customer for a long time. Just because the guy was in the service business. But I always think about that because do everything with integrity. If you don't have your integrity and if you're not honest, what do you really have? And I reflect on that. And that, I think we all get into that situation, but that was a big one. And it doesn't even matter that they had the money and they could afford to do it. It wasn't the right thing to do, but definitely learned something from it because after that, really getting into the bids and making sure that you're looking at everything and trying your best to be in the moment and reflect on the things you have learned. because that's the most difficult thing. If you're growing too fast, you're buying 120 pools, you kind of miss out on that stage. And if you are in that stage, really take the time to mess up and reflect, because you have the time to say, okay, I figured that out. I need to put that in a process. I need to note that so that when this happens again, or if, it happens to somebody else, we can actually answer that question. We've got it documented. So if I have a receptionist one day, she could actually, read this script to the technician in the field or whoever it may be. So all the things that seems like we didn't get to do any of that too much. But
Yeah.
it's really important.
I was going to say, it's like, right. Instead of all of that, we decided to buy a retail store too, to really, ease into it,
really
into the
dig
business.
into what we don't know.
So what was the reasoning behind that?
That was more him than me. I just run it.
Right. It was one of those things where the opportunity came up, and I had been trying to look for something that we could basically, take the home office out of the home and then start to grow the business a little bit more. At that time we were around, 200 accounts or so probably. Yeah. So it was like, all right, hey, here's a cool opportunity. Let's jump in and see what happens. And retail is really hard. So far what's happened is we just lose a lot of money, but
but your thought process is probably like, this is a steady income, right? Like we can make enough money to afford the rest of the business, but sometimes it's not retail. It's not like what you thought it was probably. Right?
Sure. Like we definitely get a lot of leads through the store. We've learned probably a lot more because we've had the store, and it really helped us with some of the challenges over the last few years with just, not being able to get things. People look to the retail stores, seems like first before the pool techs. So we're able to get a lot of stuff from that, but it comes with its own set of challenges, obviously.
Are you, is this a store for the public or for pool professionals?
Yeah. So
Mainly public, but we try to help out the pool pros when we can, especially like weekends when no one's available, no one else is open.
Yeah. We even, before the issues with COVID, we were starting to do some training classes and things there too. We really had this concept of we don't want to be a distributor, right? But we had this concept of becoming kind of a resource for training, and we started to carry some specialty tools and just try and do a few things that some of the pool pros would appreciate that our distributors don't do right now.
And get people to help distribute their knowledge as well, locally to those single pole guys that may not know where else to go. That just like, there's a few guys we've met that just stopped in one day because they needed some acid or something, and now we see them all the time, and the knowledge has changed completely.
Yeah, and I think having like an actual brick and mortar storefront, you're able to actually see people in person. There's air conditioning, but you're also collecting data. And I've heard, the CEO of Domino's said, what's the most, profitable part of your business? And it's not the pizza, it's not the breadsticks, it's the data. They're able to know who's ordering in what places, what they order, what the times are that it takes to get here. They have this crazy system that's, telling them all these things because they have so much data coming in. And that's what every store does. Someone comes in, it's like, oh, they're 35. This one was 70. This one is 60. They want, their water tested. They want this, they want that. These people want this. And then over, say, 5 years, man, you've got some hard numbers of like what people in A5260 want and what that demographic really looks like and what you can sell them. And, when you're going to, purchase things, you go to the international show, you kind of have like a different eye for that. It's like, oh, that's that thing. These people keep asking, they want these chairs, or they want, this special shampoo and conditioner for people that swim in Protect Blonde Hair. I don't know. Or there's stuff to put on your shoes to keep them from getting bleached.
There you go.
Oh man, I remember them shoes.
I bought them like this. This is the thing now. Come on, man.
I bought them like this, man. This is my collab with Nike. Yeah, pool boy.
This is how, so in the retail store, they think I know what I'm doing. I'm like, oh, I got you, man.
I said, what's this?
I think a retail store, you bought it and it probably was a big learning curve for you, but for me, working in the retail store and the motor shop was like really good because everybody brings you problems. It's always problem solving. So you get the opportunity to solve those problems, and by doing so, you learn. I mean, you go in the field and use that knowledge, right? So probably helped you more than you think, because you definitely learn a ton by walking through, especially if you can't see the pool, because they're explaining something to you that you can't technically see. So when you're out there, you see it, you probably have a better understanding of what's happening, right?
Yeah. Well, sometimes, I kind of always, have this thought, I guess, like, maybe imposter syndrome or whatever, where I send somebody out with what I think is the cure and they don't come back. I'm like, so did it fix the problem, or did they just decide never to come back here? Or was that particular combination of chemicals really bad?
Right.
I have no idea.
Well, I think the pro is that you have a service company, because the problem is they might not trust you, or the thing you said was going to happen didn't happen, but it's because they actually didn't know how many gallons their pool was. They were off by 10,000 gallons.
Right.
Or they didn't know that this was a salt pool and it's running as a salt. Or they didn't know this, they didn't know that. And it's like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. My pool is still green. And then maybe you go visit it, but like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know. I'm sure you guys know. You go in the backyard, they're like, yeah, dude, my freaking filter's not working. I'm like, what are you pointing at the chlorine floater? That's not your filter.
That's a dog, man.
And why do you care? How do you know it's not working? It's got slots in it. But so, I mean, at this point, how have you enjoyed, do you enjoy having the store now?
We talk about it every time that the lease comes around, right? We're like, do we like this? Are we going to do it again? There's definitely some advantages, and there's some good to it. Especially, we kind of hinted on just doing the training and the things that we've done in the back, which, with just helping other pool businesses succeed. That's always been really rewarding for us, but it doesn't pay the bills. So, it's still going to be another conversation come February when the lease is up.
Yeah, but I think, like you said, the pro is having a service company. So, I mean, I guess you're getting your opportunity to shine, with those customers, and almost talk them out of taking care of the pool themselves to some degree sometimes, where you can teach them and educate them, and they realize, and then they trust you, and then it's like, okay, well, maybe you should just do it for me, and then you have the opportunity to do that. Sometimes that bites you in the butt because they think they know more than they do. But
Well, I think that's the advantage, because people that go to a pool store usually are DIYers.
Right.
So if you can hop in and either do the repair or do a green clean, there's usually good margins, and you can charge quite a bit for that. But they don't want you to come back for service. And if you get enough people coming through the door that need the one-off filter clean, the one-off repair, that's much better, especially if you're trying to get reviews, because it's harder to get reviews for ongoing weekly service.
Right.
But if you have these people that come in and they just need your one-off services, then I see that being as pretty huge.
Yeah, I'd say that's a good bulk of it too. Of the people we do get out to is the filter clean, the replumb. Oh, I did this. It's not working. Well, this is plumbed wrong. This doesn't go into that.
The Christies all over the place.
Yeah.
The motor's sticking straight up. I don't know how you did this.
The lid's got to be on.
Yeah. Missing the O-ring.
On.
There's glass on this. Where's the glass?
Told you it's broke.
The filter doesn't have a lid. You need a new one, man.
Yeah. Greg will take care of it.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we discuss Bryce and Zach's experience with the AZ Pool Tech Facebook group, their journey through entrepreneurship, and their other business, PTG Uniforms. This episode of the Pool Chasers podcast is brought to you by Pentair. Pentair is dedicated to elevating the pool experience for their dealers and customers. As a leader in the pool and spa industry, Pentair brings connected, efficient, and quality products to pool owners, helping them save time, money, and effort so they can effortlessly enjoy all of life's moments that take place in the pool. Pentair's pool solutions are engineered to filter, clean, and sanitize water, while Pentair automation products like Pentair Home app make it all easy to control from anywhere. Pentair has innovated to create tools that empower pool owners to easily control their pool maintenance. Two recent solutions include the Prowler 930W robotic in-ground pool cleaner and the ChemCheck water quality monitoring system. In addition to streamlining pool maintenance routines, pool automation can help pools run more efficiently. By leveraging Pentair solutions, you can help your customers set pre-programmed schedules to automate a variety of pool maintenance operations, from pump speed and flow to water quality. So check out pentair.com/pool to explore the many ways you can help your customers spend more time enjoying their pool and less time worrying about the maintenance. For more information, click the link below in the show notes. This episode of the Pool Chasers podcast is also brought to you by Primate Pool Tools. All right, by now you've heard us talk about our friends at Primate Pool Tools, right? All their poles are made with aerospace-grade carbon fiber, which offers 10 times the strength of aluminum at half the weight. This allows you to cut through the water with ease. They have options for any level of commercial and residential maintenance with multiple models of poles to choose from, as well as an extension system that can extend the reach of any pole up to 40 feet. Primate Pool Tools continues to lead the way in carbon fiber technology by now offering stainless steel version of their flagship 2X and 3X models that are ideal for heavy vacs, as well as custom limited edition designs and brand new custom grips. All the Primate poles are handmade in the USA, come with a 1-year commercial warranty, and most importantly, top-notch customer service. Right now, you can get $20 off your order by using Pool Chasers 2021. That's Pool Chasers 2021 at checkout. And make sure to listen to episode 104 or click the link below for more information.
I see you often like in AZ Pool Techs. I mean, I can tell you really do care about the pool pros. I mean, you often help them, both of you guys, on some of their issues and problems. I mean, that group has a ton of random stuff in there, and lots of positives and some negatives, but it's a good spot to help people out. So.
Yeah, we like to really focus on those positives and those people who are going there and asking for help. Like I said earlier, when we bought our route and we're out there with the 130 pools and I'd say not having the support or not really wanting to utilize the support I had, I would have loved to be able to get on Facebook and ask a couple thousand people what I should be doing right now. And so, just because we didn't have that experience, we still want to make sure that the people who do, they're actually getting good feedback and learning something, improving their businesses, and not just being made fun of for not knowing things or being told, don't do it until you know how to do it. It's like, that's just not how learning works.
I know. I can't stand that answer.
Yes, I'm trying to learn how to do it.
Yeah, I get it. That's why I posted the picture, man.
Right.
Like, thanks.
Right.
At one point, you did the same thing. They just didn't have access to thousands of pool guys like we do now. So,
Right.
But I also think, if you got into being your own boss and you're an entrepreneur and all these different things, you got to show some type of initiative. If you're going to a group, I think you need to do your due diligence. You need to search within their group a topic. And I'm not saying you can't ask a question, but I do get frustrated with people in like everything that I do. And they'll just like ask this question. And they didn't do like any kind of research. And I just feel like they want to be seen. And I'm like, don't you want to be seen with like a valid question? Not some dumbass question that's been asked 100 freaking times.
Yeah.
Right.
And all of them have the same exact answer.
Yeah.
Like, what makes you think you're going to get answered any differently? Because somebody asked it yesterday and not today. I know things change, but there's just certain things like everything with the chemicals. I understand that because it seems like things are just changing by a freaking hour.
Yep.
But there's just other things where it's like, come on, man.
I think that happens a ton in the podcast groups that we're in. Like,
Oh, dude, don't
way,
go
way
look
worse,
at
way
podcast
worse
groups.
way worse than the pool groups. But
So it seems like you're doing a little bit of everything. So you definitely have that, entrepreneur spirit. I mean, what kind of keeps you going? And it seems like when you see a good idea, you just kind of want to run with it. What's behind all of that?
So if I was going to be,
Hold on.
no, this is important that I speak and
No.
not you.
Because Bryce's big thing is, this is an idea. Well, we'll start a business right now for it. And then he tells me after he's already started the business, and I get to run it for a while.
I'm going to need you to go to this location tomorrow.
We're doing a podcast.
Right.
What is this, a Subway?
It was a Subway.
Yeah.
Now it's beyond subs.
Little chlorine flakes. It's
Right.
sandwiches for pool guys.
That's valuable, actually.
What were you going to say?
I was just trying to get ahead of that because,
He knew it was coming.
my spin will sound much better for me for some reason. But I was just gonna say that it's like once you started a business and honestly you see how easy it is to start and to get things going, it becomes a little addictive. So earlier when I was listing all my businesses, I left off like a third of them, right? Because like we started the uniform thing, PTG Uniforms. We started that honestly because my mom used to work with a company that did all of our shirts, and we got great pricing, and I didn't know until she left that company, and I was like, all right, I need to get a new shirt. And I got quotes from a few people, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
That doesn't work for me. I'm just going to go ahead and do this myself, and so Zach and I kind of hooked up on the idea, and just, we started doing our own shirts, and we did them for a few people, and we're like, hey, this is a business. Let's actually see if we can get some return on the investments for equipment and things that we had to get for it. So
It's another way too. Like I always like that business because it's a really good way to help with like that small company, like all pool companies are for the most part. None of those uniform places want to do 12 shirts because it's not worth their time. But what's some time out of my day for?
not a thing.
Exactly. He dictates my day, so. But it's just nice to be able to kind of give that back and save some people some money on something that I think legitimizes you a little more than sometimes you think when you come out branded. I think that makes a big difference.
So when you're looking at starting one of these businesses, I mean, are you looking at like what the marketplace looks like? Like how many people are out there screen printing? Can you put things on Amazon, eBay, Etsy? I mean, how deep are you getting into the whole thing?
I would say when I'm looking at it, it's very shallow. It's more like,
I like it.
yeah, exactly.
And then I price shop it.
Right. I'm like,
Idea LegalZoom, all in
There
a
you
matter
go.
of a minute.
right. It's like
A minute.
for me,
You're
it's
way
like,
too long for this guy.
I think of a need that people have, and I'm like, how do we make everyone's lives a little bit better? Like, what can we do? And then Zach will be like, hey, that's great, but we need to make money too. If we're going to be spending our time doing this. So I'll say it again and again that I seem to just have these ideas. I'm like, I'm going to do this, and Zach makes sure that our bills are getting paid.
Food's expensive.
Right. Yeah.
I think that the book Traction that we built, Brothers, based on, I mean, it talks about the visionary and the integrator, right? And that's two different roles. It's kind of how we do things too. I think in a similar role where it's vision and, ideas come up, and some ideas are good, some ideas are bad, and you work them through. As partners, it's what you do, right? I mean, so there's one. It's better off that way, that you guys have two different kind of roles. Because if you both just had ideas or you both just ran stuff, it probably wouldn't work as well. So you're getting a lot of arguments.
It's interesting you said the word easy. I don't know if I've ever heard anybody say starting a business is easy, especially when it comes to pool service and repair. I found that to be very challenging, probably mostly on developing the brand, the business. You make a mission. What is our ethos? And our team truly believes in it. And you have a team that sticks around long enough to actually know what's going on. And you don't have this like turnover, that's just crazy to the point where people calling in are asking like, what's your turnover rate? Like, am I going to have a new guy in my backyard? And that's totally understandable.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But what makes it easy? I mean, do you find that those things aren't challenging?
So we're I've said before with my previous role, I've literally hired thousands of people, and really kind of got it down to a science where we find the right people and they stick with us. We compensate them well. Like I think I'm the lowest paid person that works with Beyond. We make sure that everyone else there makes more money than we do, and we just want to make sure that we don't have turnover. When I worked in restaurants, turnover was just a huge expense that people don't think about. Hiring someone new, training them, it's insanely expensive. So when we hire somebody, we hire the right person. We spend a lot of money to hire them. We actually the last guy we hired, we moved him out here from Mississippi.
Somewhere.
Yeah, Mississippi. So we paid a lot of his moving expenses and things like that because it's someone that I had worked with in the past, and I was positive that he was the right fit for us. Someone who I'd been kind of grooming for a long time. I was like, let me know when you're ready to come be a pool boy. I'll get you taken care of. So that's just, you build those systems, and then when you want to do it to something new, it's just kind of copy and paste, right? It's almost a lot of the things you're talking about, like your ethos and what you stand for. It's pretty easy to say, hey, we do that for pools, but also the same thing for uniforms. It's a little bit easier when it's the groundwork's already done. And like you said, what I'm trying to say is, starting it's easy. Then forming it and actually turning it into something else, that takes time. There's no shortcuts there.
Yeah, I think you've gotten it to a point to where it's definitely easier. It seems like you've got so much experience in being in the restaurant business, and I'm sure you learned a ton from that, where things didn't go your way. And when you start your own business, I mean, we did the same thing. We're like, this is what my boss used to do. This is what my manager used to do. I hated being micromanaged, all these different things. And you talk about, moving people from another state here. That's a very honorable thing to do. And it's super smart. You find the right person, because we all know that person that they might not know pools at all, but their work ethic, they're smart, they catch on quick. That's the same with our boy Kyle.
Moved him from Minnesota.
I thought it was sketchy, probably like a month in, and then he signed off on him, and then man, he's just been like one of the biggest hustlers I've ever met. But it's special when you can find people. But it seems like you've got a good strategy, and you use that same process in all the businesses. But I think I'm just making sure that anybody that hears this, like, nothing is easy. I think you had to learn all those lessons the hard way in putting up with a lot of shit, or even kind of making that risk and kind of jumping from like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. This isn't fulfilling. I need to go do my own thing. And I mean, jumping into 120 pools, that's a ballsy move.
Yeah.
I didn't know nothing about pools getting into this. I would not have
That's a lot.
done that.
Right. Yeah. Coming from just my background and how I've always had to work. When I was going to college, I had 2 full-time jobs and was going to school full-time. And I ended up trading that in for a salary job. And they're telling me, you're going to have to work 50 hours a week. Are you okay with that? I was like, yeah, that's a 30-hour reduction. That sounds phenomenal. And of course, anyone who's worked in the restaurant industries know that that's complete bullshit. You're going to work 60, 70 hours. And so that's pretty much what we did. And then, coming into the pool industry, it's really easy just to maintain that work ethic and to learn it at a fast pace. Spent a lot of time on YouTube watching our friend Josh Mall, Pool Science, before I knew him, watching a lot of his videos.
Oh yeah. Yep, for sure. I think I know what you mean though, like when you say it's addicting, because we did that lots of times where like, that person sucks at doing this, like we could do it better, like let's just start it. And then you go through like, yeah, never mind. Like it's but the wanting to do it and like seeing the problems and wanting to solve it, like nobody does this good. Like it sucks. Why can't somebody do this part good? And then you're like, we can do it. And you go through, and then it comes up your point of like looking at the numbers, looking at different stuff, and you're like, nope. This is why. Right. So, but I do the feeling of like wanting to do it and getting that entrepreneur, I guess, feeling, but it's like, I want to make it better. I can do it. And then you realize you don't have the time, or it costs too much money or whatever, but it is addicting to when you're good at something and you have a process that you can put in place. It's hard to say no. You got to go through the steps of figuring out, okay, that's why we can't do it.
Yeah, we'll probably push it a little more and be like, no, we'll figure it out and then quit.
Right.
Well, then you invested too much money in it.
But that's cool. If you're able to do it, you might find what your real love and passion is. The store could take off, and maybe you focus a little more on branding it. Maybe it's got like a different feel and aesthetic, and people are just kind of jiving with it, and you can be statewide, nationwide, or do something else with it. Maybe you find like this hidden sort of passion. I think that's the coolest thing about, being an entrepreneur is you try all these things. And especially this day and age, you can do it at such a small scale. You don't have to go crazy. You can make websites for people. You can do, you can be somebody's social media manager. You can do all these things and figure out, how much you're going to charge, per session, per week, per month, per year. How much time are you putting into it? And you might just geek out on some of that and fall in love with it and be like, dude, I want to hire some people. I want to do this. Or you'd be like, this part's cool. I'll go work for somebody else and do that. But all this other shit.
Yeah. I don't like that part.
Yeah. I'll be living at my mom's house forever.
We're going to take another quick break. When we get back, we discuss finding your passion within your business, what Bryce and Zach like most about owning their own business, and how they became Skimmer ambassadors. This episode of the Pool Chasers podcast is brought to you by Leslie's. As a pool service professional, it's important to have the right partners. Leslie's values the important work you do to serve your local communities, and they want to help. With the new Leslie's Pro Partner Program, you can take advantage of the benefits only Leslie's has to offer. As a member of the program, you will get customer referrals and wholesale pricing. Additionally, you can take advantage of Leslie's extended hours during the week and on the weekends. When we were running Brothers Pool Service, we often used Leslie's when we needed supplies, especially on the weekends, and since they have over 900 locations, they were convenient to get to. They also offer free in-store services like water testing and cleaner repair. To learn more, check out episode 151 of the podcast, or stop by your local Leslie's store today to sign up for the program. This episode of the Pool Chasers podcast is brought to you by SR Smith. So, have you guys checked out SR Smith's Trade Central website yet? It is seriously the best one-stop shop for all sorts of great tools and resources designed to help support and grow your pool business. You can get there by going to srsmith.com and clicking the Trade Central at the top of the page. Once you arrive at SR Smith's Trade Central website, you will gain instant access to exclusive programs and benefits that are only available to the trade. They have rewards programs, display programs, and even try me programs. They even have a place where you can add your business to their dealer locator and be found by the 100,000 plus customers a year that are coming to SR Smith's website looking for someone to install or service SR Smith products. Free leads? Sign me up. And if free leads aren't enough, you can also enter to win $250 on Trade Central right now. Just go to www.srsmith.com and click on Trade Central. You will see the Enter to Win button there. Enter the promo code Pool Chasers. Then once you click the Submit button, you are entered to win. We want to give a big shout out to our friends at SR Smith for supporting the pool industry with Trade Central and for supporting us at the podcast with exclusive promotions for our listeners. To hear all about what SR Smith has to offer, listen to episode 157 of the podcast or click the link below.
It seems like you kind of like, you like the shirt stuff quite a bit too, so maybe that kind of developed through that, right?
Oh, 100%.
Similar,
Yeah.
What Greg's mentioning, that finding something you actually really enjoying out of starting it.
Yeah, figuring that whole business out was really fun. And even just what you're saying, or I guess what we were talking about more, finding pricing and making sure it's profitable, that's something I kind of helped a couple other small, not pool-related businesses figure out their pricing for something they were jumping into. And that was really fun just to be like, oh, I actually can do this with not as much knowledge in your industry, but knowing your time value and what you should be charging to make sure you're making your bills. Don't give it away because you want to get that customer. You need to make your time valuable and it'll only spread.
Yeah. I love clothing like 100%. And that's got to be a difficult business because
You do love clothing. You've attempted that multiple times.
well, the most difficult thing is if you're somebody that knows quality, quality shirts, like the different wickening fabrics and where they're being, where they're coming from. There's so many different brand hats. You got the Flex Fit, the New Eras, the Autos. You got all these different hats and it's sourcing all these different things. And I went to the Agenda trade shows and the Magic trade shows and Skep trade shows. And you learn real quick. They're like, oh, it's super easy. Just got to put in like a $200,000 order. I'm like, what the fuck am I going to do with 200,000?
Right?
I like black hats, but what the fuck am I going to do with 200,000 black hats? But they're at like $3 a pop.
Right.
I'm all, so wow, that's
$600,000.
That's a lot of money. Because that's the, you have to know all those things. Just like pools, when people come in and they're like, dude, I want a hat like this Deus hat or this Brixton hat that I saw. oh, so you're going to want to mess with this like, Auto CX702. It's got, this brim on it. It's good for people that like to put their hats over their ears, wear glasses, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, yeah, you're my man. Like, you can do all my stuff.
Yeah.
And there's not very many people, been to a lot of people, there's not very many people that can hang or even just screen print in the right place every time.
That's the hard part. Is this lined up? Yeah, probably.
Probably.
Sure. What do you think?
It's funny because when we first started doing it, one of I don't remember who brought it up, was very much, I don't want to deal with all these sizes. I worked in retail forever. Oh, here's one shirt I have in 15 sizes because America's fat, apparently. And just trying to deal with that to figure out, get that order done. It's like, yeah, it's one logo, but I need it on 15 different things. And it's just like, I don't want to deal with any of that. And I'm like, oh, all day, let's do this. This is the easy part. Tell me what you want. I'll figure it out.
But I think that's the fun part about being your own boss, being an entrepreneur, is just sweating it out. Like screen print all of them, mess it up, fix it, bag it up, label it, do all the different things. It's so time consuming. But if you're a person that's like, dude, that's way too much work, fuck that, I'm not making any money. Or if you're like, dude, this was so much fun, but I probably like wasted some time here and there. I need to perfect this. I need to figure out how to do this quicker, do this faster. I can shave off 5 minutes if I get a machine that'll dry these faster. I can save 10 minutes by doing this. I can save X amount by getting, this embroidery machine that does 10 hats at once or whatever it may be. So I think that is like a real entrepreneur that likes to look at everything through like, oh, challenge. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I got it. You know what I mean? And you're willing to do whatever it takes. Like, okay, it costs 20,000. Like I'm going to save up for that. And when I reach that goal, I'm going to have that machine. I'm going to be able to shave that, 10 minutes off or whatever it may be. So it's just totally different thought process, right?
Yeah. And something else that, Zach's been doing just killing it is that I like to see is we have, he'll have customers from Hawaii, Virginia, Florida, and just all over the place. Obviously we have lots local people just that happen to know us, but then there's people that see the ads and it's like, why are they calling from Virginia? And it's because of this guy right here. He's really going to take care of them. They're going to get exactly what they want and, not for ridiculous prices.
Well, that's the big thing, man. You take care of them, and so many people going back to like pool service, it's really like just answering the phone. Because there's so many like, dude, like so many people call, but I ain't getting shit. I'm like, are you calling them back? Right. Is that why? Like how many times?
It's a two-way thing here, man.
Like maybe you need to hire somebody so that you can pick that phone up on the first try. Because usually if you call people back, they leave a message. They're just going down the line. Yeah. They're like, I wanted this one, but move on. And then they're, the second person on Google or Yelp or Angie's List or whatever it is, whoever picks up their phone first is usually, going to get the job. Sometimes like we're fortunate to get to a point where I couldn't believe it. Like if some would slip through the cracks, I'm like, yeah, like I've been like waiting like a week. I'm like, a week?
Right.
Crazy. But, prior to that, it was not that easy. You call them back and they're like, dude, my pool's being cleaned right now.
Somebody's already out here.
You're calling me back. My pool's being cleaned right now by another company. But oh, sorry. Yeah.
Call me if you need something, man.
Send you a Coke. So what's your favorite part about owning a pool business?
So my favorite part, I guess, about just owning the business is really being able to control both sides, what we choose to do and who we choose to do it with. So one of the things that I would really bring up here is our ability to actually fire our customers. It's coming from the food business. They don't appreciate that. You got to take every single customer. You got to take a lot of abuse. It's just all about making sure that person comes back in the door. Whereas with us, we have so much business and so much things that we can do that we can really kind of choose who we want to do it for. So that's probably my favorite part.
And it's interesting too, because maybe that's not the same for everybody in every part of the country, but out here, there's always something to be done. And if you want to focus on filter cleans or whatever, you can make that your whole life and not have to worry about that customer you dread going to every week. I hate going to this house. It sucks. That guy's always out there and he's a jerk. Just having the control, like he's saying, is just so nice to be able to cut ties if you need to, and that work's going to come back either way because you are taking care of people when they need to be.
Yeah, that huge surge of relief the next week when you would normally be going to that house on your route and you drive right past it. That's
and you go to their neighbor because you picked up their account.
Right.
Nice.
The whole entire thing is an art because there are people on your team that could be doing some dishonest things, or they might. Because to me, if I hire you and I'm paying good money and you're not doing everything that you were paid to do, you're stealing from me. That's the way I look at it. And that's the way I would look at it if somebody on our team was doing the same thing. You got paid to do a job. You didn't do a job. They should be upset. I would be upset. There has to be that reflection where it's like, well, what's really going on? I need to talk to this person. I need to figure out, look through, we use Skimmer, you can look through Skimmer and see, what the data looks like. It's like, oh, they put this much in last week or the week before. They're doing this. Oh, they were here 5 minutes and then 15 minutes and then weird times are all over the place. I mean, I just feel like things are just not ever perfect, and some people are like, dude, my team is a shit. Nobody would ever do anything. I tread lightly, man, because they're some of the greatest people on teams have, been going through some shit. But I think that's a good boss is you notice when maybe they're having going through a divorce or having some kind of issue or problem at home. I think a good boss can pick up on those things. I was not very good at that. Tyler is definitely very much more in tuned with that. And when it's like it actually was a problem, we can collectively talk about it. And I think some people are like, I don't want to talk like we're not about like feelings and stuff. And it's like, do you kind of have to be like, this is personal. Like it really is a family. You know what I mean? You asking somebody to be here at 5 o'clock in the morning till, 3, 5 o'clock at night, Monday through Friday. It's a lot of time together, but you get to make that call. And I love that because I think that's the most important thing is you get to control your destiny. You can either be happy or you can be unhappy. If you want to let a customer go, you want to let a team member go, you want to hire somebody on, you want to go in this direction and not that direction. Ultimately, that's your guys' call, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
So let's talk about the Skimmer ambassador thing real quick before we wrap up. How'd that kind of come about?
It's actually kind of a funny story, I guess. We tell the true story. We're talking about just different opportunities and things. We've recently we hired an awesome guy that kind of doing a lot of our back office work, and it's taken a tremendous amount of work off my plate. And Zach knows that's a big red flag. That means I'm going to try and find another company to start.
How do I keep him busy?
There you go.
Right. So, Zach actually composed an email to Kevin. You guys know Kevin. He's kind of like we'll call him like the head of marketing over at Skimmer, but he's a lot more than that.
Marty Bird.
Shout out.
But Zach actually composed an email saying, "Hey, do you guys want to hire Bryce? Because you should."
This guy has so much time on his hands.
I don't know. Maybe my surprise, maybe not yours. Kevin was all about it. He's seen what we've done, and he knows. Really, what he's trying to push recently is actually doing training and development for pool companies. That's not necessarily about pushing people on Skimmer as much as uplifting them and then saying, here's the tool that you should be using to do those things. So when he reached back out to Zach called me. He's like, hey, you're going to be mad. I kind of overstepped some boundaries, but I got you another job, basically. But when he told me about it and what it would be, I was pretty interested. And so I reached out to Kevin and set up an interview with Kevin and with the owner, Jack. Couple great guys, and they we kind of created a job where I'm not a Skimmer employee. I'm actually told not to specifically say good things about Skimmer. I'm told to just tell the truth, be honest, and since I've been a Skimmer user for over 5 years, before it was anything what it is today. When I started using it, you had to use a tablet.
Right.
It was no photos,
Right.
Most of the features that it has today it didn't have. It was just like, hey, I don't have to write all this stuff down. I can push buttons instead. That's
this
great.
sends an email. That's all I wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah. so basically, I have just that pretty big experience with them and experience with pool pros in general. So I'd almost want to say it's like one part, voice of the customer and one part training people how to use it. So we started to develop from then, and actually, Zach's kind of joined the ambassador team too, just, since I was enjoying it so much and they're still looking to hire people. It's like, well, you got to get Zach in here so I can dump all my work on somebody.
He thought I had too much time, and I was like, well, I'm getting married. And he's like, you're good.
Yeah, she'll do it.
Yeah.
I think it's a really cool move by Skimmer, to be honest, because originally it was created by somebody that knew the pool industry along with somebody that could develop it, right? That's what the original idea was. Hey, I need something for my pool company, and then they created it. But I think it's a cool idea to bring back the pool pros into developing that, right? Because they purchase Skimmer and they want to make it better, improve it, and to get people that know what they're doing in the industry is going to help them quite a bit. So I think it's a good move to include pool companies into that.
Yeah, they knew that there was a potential weakness there that they needed to bring people on. I wouldn't say necessarily that it was ever like a hole, because Kevin, you guys might have seen, he goes out and he talks to people. That's what he does every day.
Yeah.
So that they definitely have a connection to the customer, but it's a little bit different to have someone like us that run I'd say like a medium-sized company, and we have just a little bit more perspective than a lot of even just the owner operators do when they're
plus the
using
retail.
Yeah,
I think that's
right.
Gives an even wider perspective for everything that we're doing.
Yeah. So, you imagine those owner operators, they use it how they want to use it, and we're used to seeing how other people use it too. It's obviously a very customizable and adaptable program. So having that knowledge of how other people are going to use it kind of helps out. But plus just, my placement with AZ Pool Techs, being being the only moderator, I guess, the person on there that's kind of enforcing the rules from time to time, and then really just wanting to help the community is kind of what I've become passionate about. So it's nice just to have another tool to do that with.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really cool, man. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys do with them. It'd be awesome.
Well, thank you guys so much for taking the time to be with us. I know it was kind of short notice, but it's a great conversation, and it was really cool, getting to know some more locals a little bit better, and have to pop into your store sometime, check out the operation.
Yeah, come down anytime. One of us is usually there. Sometimes
I am usually there. Yes.
Yeah.
So how do people get more information from you guys?
If you go to beyondpoolcleaning.com, that's really our main website. You can see a couple emails on there and our photos. Get to know who you're looking for when you come to see us at our store. So
Where's the pool store at again?
over on Scottsdale and Shea, Sun Pool and Patio is the name. So
We're right next to Total Wine. So
There you go.
everybody knows where that is.
There you go. And what's the clothing company?
PTG Uniforms.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, Pool Chasers. Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed the episode. To connect with today's guests, including pictures, links, and resources from everything discussed today, you can visit the episode page at poolchasers.com or click the links below. To connect more with us, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter by searching at Pool Chasers. If you would like to support the podcast, the easiest and most effective way is to subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, as well as share the show or your favorite episode with a friend or on social media. Also, you can get early access to each episode by supporting us through Patreon. We know your time is valuable, so thank you for sharing some of yours with us today.
See you out there, Pool Chasers.